Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to spice things up today? We're diving into the world of garam masala.
A classic. It's one of those blends that's so fundamental to certain cuisines.
Exactly. And we've got this great excerpt here that's got me thinking about garam masala in a whole new light. It's more than just a spice rack staple, right?
Absolutely.
So let's unpack this. Garam masala. I know it translates to hot spices, but there's got to be more to it than just chili pepper heat.
You're right. It goes way beyond that.
Yeah.
The hot in garam masala has this sort of double meaning. On one hand, yeah, you've got spices that bring the heat, black pepper, ginger, things like that.
Okay, the kind of heat that makes you reach for a glass of milk.
Exactly. But then there's this other aspect, which is more about the energy of the spices, especially in Ayurvedic traditions.
Oh, right, Ayurveda. I always find that so interesting. For those who don't know, remind us what that's all about.
So Ayurveda is this ancient Indian system of holistic medicine, and one of its core principles is that food can be medicine. Each spice, each ingredient has its own unique energy, and you can use them to create balance within the body.
I see. So it's about more than just taste. It's about how those spices make you feel.
Exactly. And garam masala, with its blend of warming spices, it's believed to help with things like digestion, circulation, even boost your immunity. It's pretty amazing.
That is pretty cool. I'm seeing my spice rack in a whole new light now. But going back to the excerpt, it also talks about how there isn't just one definitive garam masala recipe, right? All those regional variations. What's that all about?
Yeah, that's one of the things that makes it so fascinating. It's like every family, every region in India has its own unique blend passed down through generations. It's all about those personal touches, those little twists that make it their own.
So it's like instead of following a recipe, you're following a family tradition.
Exactly. Like in Kashmir, they might add a touch of dried rose petals to their garam masala.
Rose petals. Now that's interesting.
Yeah, it gives it this really unique floral sweetness. Then you go down south to, say, Kerala, and they might use a lot of curry leaves, which adds a brighter, almost citrusy aroma.
Wow, that's like taking your taste buds on a tour of India. So cool. There's one thing I've always wondered about garam masala, and the excerpt mentions it too, the whole toasting the spices before grinding them. How important is that step, really? Because I tried making my own once, and I'll be honest, I totally skipped it.
It makes a huge difference. It's like night and day. Roasting the spices beforehand really helps to unlock all those essential oils. And that just explodes the flavor and aroma.
I can imagine. Freshly roasted spices smell divine.
Right. Take black peppercorns, for example. If you grind them up raw, they've got that sharp, almost biting taste. But if you toast them first, the heat mellows out, and you get this incredible earthy, warm depth of flavor. It's amazing.
It really is. It makes you realize how important smell is to how we experience flavor, too.
Oh, absolutely. When we eat something, our brains aren't just getting information from our taste buds. A huge part of what we perceive as taste actually comes from our sense of smell.
That makes sense. I've definitely had moments where, the smell of something cooking brings back a rush of memories.
Exactly. And it's not just memories. Aroma can also create anticipation. Like if you smell something delicious, it can actually make you start salivating even before you've taken a bite.
Wow, that's cool. So smell primes our brains for the whole taste experience. Now let's talk about some of these individual spices. We've got the usual suspects, peppercorns, cinnamon, cloves. But what about the more exotic ones, like mace, for example? I feel like that one doesn't get enough love.
Mace is so interesting. It's actually the outer layer of the nutmeg seed, and it's got this warm, slightly sweet flavor with a hint of citrus. It adds a really beautiful complexity to the blend.
And it rounds out all those other flavors. It's like the secret ingredient. You might not be able to put your finger on it, but it adds something really special. This has been fascinating. We've gone from a simple jar of spices to a deep dive into flavor, history, and even holistic health.
It just goes to show you how much depth there is to something we might take for granted.
Absolutely. So, listeners, here's a thought for you. Next time you're feeling adventurous in the kitchen, why not treat your spice rack like a map of India? Explore different regional garam masala blends. Experiment with toasting your own spices. Who knows, you might even discover your own signature blend.
That's a great idea. It's all about exploring and being creative in the kitchen.
Couldn't agree more. And that's a wrap on another delicious deep dive. Until next time.